What's up, guys? Chris Brown, otherwise known as Chain Stasis Wellness, coming at you from Train Boston with another wellness moment. So, today, guys, I want to talk to you about a strategy you can use to help you be better during the holidays, specifically Thanksgiving, since it's coming up on us. Now, this thing may seem like it's going to be a nutritional tip, but this tip may actually help you more as far as your emotional side of things. Okay? With Thanksgiving coming up, many of us are sure to deal with some major challenges relating to our nutrition. Many people will travel, you'll see relatives you don't often see, you'll change your sleep habits, and you'll be surrounded by not only decadent foods, but a huge variety of foods. And it's been shown that the more variety of foods you have, the more likely you are to indulge. All these things are oftentimes they're tied to strong emotions, good and bad. Often what happened in our past can heavily influence our decisions in our future. For instance, when you were a kid, if you had a great time at your Thanksgiving dinners, you're probably likely to experience good emotions every time you go there. So anything you did during that Thanksgiving dinner is associated with happiness. So if you did bad behaviors, then those bad behaviors are probably tied to feeling good, and vice versa. Whether that's good or bad, who knows? I'm not here to judge that. That's for you. But why is that? Well, whether or not we like it, as humans, we are very much animals, right? So we're not really in control all the time. We like to think that we are, but our brains are in charge, and our brains are heavily influenced by our emotions or our amygdala, which tells us, we're angry, we're hungry, let's physically fight, or let's run away, or let's feel sad. That's in control most of the time. That doesn't mean that we can't control it and turn it around, but it does mean we have to figure out how to make it so our prefrontal cortex, or our thinking ahead part of our brain, is a little bit more in charge than the amygdala or the reptile survival part of our brain. Okay? We are actually just wired for survival, even though we like to think we're more complicated than that. But that means we've been doing things for a long time that have been keeping us alive, right? Whether it's perfect or not, well, that's probably not the case. But whatever we've been doing, it's been keeping us alive. So our body's saying, hey, why would we change what we're doing? That takes a lot of work. Even if it's not the healthiest option, it's what your body knows. So our brains, they work in this very much like cue, response, routine mindset. So for instance, we can give a few examples to break that down. When we get in the car with our family to visit our parents in a different state, you hit traffic. Traffic is a cue for you to get angry, right? And then you have a craving, right? Something to make you feel less stressed out, right? Or less claustrophobic, who knows? And then you have a routine or behavior that you do to fix that craving or to satisfy that craving. Maybe it's playing music. Perhaps you're yelling at your kids. Maybe you're going to give all the kids technology. Who knows? I'm not really judging whether it's good or bad. We're just identifying it. So another good example would be like you sit down to watch the Lions lose another Thanksgiving game. Maybe you get bored. You don't care about the Lions. Maybe you're angry. Maybe you're depressed because they're your favorite team and they always lose. They're so bad this year. So maybe you're craving a distraction from that. But either way, your routine is to reach for some chips, grab another beer or whiskey, or just complain to your aunt who doesn't want to hear about it. She doesn't care at all. You're just being toxic and yelling, and nobody wants to hear it. But that's what you do, right? So I could go on forever and ever about these examples, but the point is we're programmed to do the same things over and over again to make us feel better, right? And the reason why we do that same thing is because it's easy to rely on something that we've built up over the years. Why would we work hard to do something different if it's simpler to not really think about it? Like, why would you take a different route to go to work if you can go to work without thinking? That's what our body does, okay? Sometimes the habits are good, sometimes they're bad. We're not really labeling them good or bad so much as we want to figure out why, and if they're not something we want to continue to do, how can we fix this? All right? So before you start going onto autopilot because your Uncle Joe pissed you off about talking about politics and you eat 3 pieces of pumpkin pie in response, let's start paying attention, okay? So many times people will do an emotional thing and that will lead to these behaviors that we don't want, right? So I'll have people do emotional eating logs or mindfulness logs. Even though this can work for any aspect of your wellness, from exercise to relationships to sleep, this works exceptionally well for nutrition. So whenever you eat something, this is how it works. You sit down and you write out some W's, right? What time is it? Where am I? What did I just do? And what emotion am I feeling right now? So for instance, you're at Thanksgiving, you know, it's around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm surrounded by my family, who generally stresses me out, and they aren't normal people I'm around. I just saw the Lions lose their football game, and I'm feeling angry, and I'm feeling claustrophobic and anxious, right? So that would be a good example, right? Then you got to be mindful of, what do you have an urge to do to fix that or satisfy that, right? Your craving is usually what we're going to say. So maybe you want something crunchy. Maybe you want something to relax you. Maybe you want something to distract you, or maybe you just want peace and quiet, right? So then you have to write down what you did about it. You don't have to necessarily be better here, but you get to write down what you did. You probably are thinking about whether it's good or bad as you're doing it, but that's not the point yet. So maybe you drank alcohol, you smoked weed, you went for a walk with your cousin. Maybe you got angry, you yelled, maybe you got physical. You had a few too many to drink. Hopefully not, but maybe. Maybe you ate candy, you had junk food, or you just binge ate and ate way too much pumpkin pie or stuffing, right? But at that point, you have data, you wrote it down, and you can use that data to be better. Thanksgiving's tough because it's only once a year, but you can look at maybe weekend habits or weekly habits at work and use that data to help you, right? So now you can either insert a new behavior or you can practice avoidance, right? So for instance, you can have tea or read in a quiet place to relax. You can work out or yell in a place away from people to diffuse your anger. You could eat pickles or carrots or something low calorie to satiate hunger to fix that. Or you can just avoid it. Don't go near certain people when you're at your gatherings, or don't invite certain people, or just don't go out to certain areas where the food's everywhere and you can't handle eating it. Those things can work oftentimes even better. But it's good to have a strategy if you do get stuck in that bad situation, right? When you change these behaviors, when you start doing different things, it will feel uncharacteristic of you. It'll feel like this isn't me. And you'll still often mess up. You'll still go back to your old behaviors because those connections are very strong. That's okay though. You have to accept that they're there and accept that you failed and just come right back to that same thing. If it's working, it will work long term. You just have to be able to be consistent and adhere to it as much as possible. Don't give up if you step back one time, step 2 steps forward again, okay? So remember, the next time you get frustrated at not seeing results in your nutrition plan, remember that your emotions are the most powerful drivers of behaviors, and behaviors equal results, all right? So hopefully this kind of a log can help you, and you can use this as a strategy, or at least some mindfulness before Thanksgiving, to be better about your nutritional habits, but maybe also your relationship habits as well. All right. Thank you guys. Until next time, good luck with Thanksgiving and be well.